not because of the cold, but because of how quiet everything becomes. Snow absorbs sound, cars disappear from the roads, and the darkness comes earlier than it should. In winter, if something happens to you, there's a good chance no one will hear it. No footsteps, no screams, no signs you were ever there. Tonight, I want to share 3 true winter stories. Each one took place during the coldest months of the year, when isolation feels heavier and danger feels closer. These aren't urban legends. These aren't campfire stories. They're real experiences from real people. So before we begin, if you're watching this late at night, alone with the lights off, you might want to rethink that. I was 22 years old and living alone in northern Minnesota at the time. If you've never experienced winter up there, it's hard to explain just how unforgiving it is. The cold doesn't just chill you, it attacks you. Your skin burns, your breath hurts, and if you're outside too long, your body starts to shut down without warning. This happened in late January. That night, the temperature was sitting around -20, not counting the wind chill. I worked the closing shift at a grocery store about 15 minutes from my apartment. I didn't have a car back then, so I relied entirely on the bus. The last bus of the night came at exactly 11:47 p.m. I remember checking my watch as I locked up the store, 11:45. I started running. By the time I reached the stop, I could see the bus pulling away, its red taillights disappearing into the snowstorm. I stood there staring down the empty road, feeling that sinking feeling in my chest. My phone buzzed, 9% battery. Calling a cab was pointless. Most wouldn't drive in weather like this. Walking home would have taken over an hour, and standing still for too long in that cold could actually be dangerous. That's when headlights appeared. A pickup truck slowed as it approached the bus stop. It was older, rusted around the edges, and looked like it had seen a lot of winters. The driver rolled his window down. He was an older man, maybe late 50s or early 60s. Gray beard, thick jacket, normal looking. He smiled and said, "Miss the bus?" I nodded. "You shouldn't be standing out here. You'll freeze. I can give you a ride." Every instinct in my body hesitated, but my fingers were numb, my legs were shaking, and the cold was winning. I got in. The moment the door closed, the heater blasted warm air. I remember thinking how good it felt, how safe it felt, to finally be out of the wind. For the first few minutes, we drove in silence. Then I noticed something. We weren't turning toward my neighborhood. I politely mentioned it, assuming he just missed a turn. He glanced at me and smiled. "Roads are bad tonight. I know a shortcut." The streetlights disappeared. The road narrowed. Snow-covered trees surrounded us on both sides. The farther we went, the quieter everything became. My chest tightened. Then the truck slowed and stopped. He put the truck in park, turned toward me, and said in the calmest voice imaginable, "You know why people disappear in winter?" My heart dropped. I didn't answer. "You can scream out here," he continued, "but the snow swallows it." I opened the door and jumped out. The snow came up to my knees, nearly knocking me over. I ran, blind, panicked, freezing air tearing at my lungs. Behind me, I heard boots crunching fast. I don't know how long I ran. I don't know where I was going. I just ran. Eventually, my body gave out. I collapsed. The next thing I remember was bright lights and a man shaking me awake. A snowplow driver had spotted me lying near the road. I was hypothermic. Police searched the area that night. They never found the truck. My family owns a small cabin in the mountains of Colorado. When I say small, I mean barely enough room for a bed, a couch, and a wood-burning stove. No neighbors, no cell service, no street lights, just miles of forest in every direction. I had been there plenty of times growing up, but never alone. Last winter, I volunteered to go up by myself to clear out old furniture before the snow made the road completely impassable. I figured it would be one quiet night, in and out. That was my first mistake. By the time I arrived, the sun was already setting. Winter sunsets in the mountains don't fade, they drop. One moment there's light, the next the forest is nothing but shadows. I unloaded my car quickly. The silence out there felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing against my ears. That night, a storm rolled in faster than expected. Snow slammed against the windows. Wind howled through the trees, making them creak and snap like they were alive. The cabin groaned with every gust. I tried to distract myself, ate dinner, lit the fireplace, scrolled through my phone even though there was no signal. Around 1:30 a.m., I finally fell asleep. I don't know what woke me up. I just remember opening my eyes and knowing something was wrong. Then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, heavy, crunching through snow, right outside the cabin. At first I told myself it was an animal, deer, elk, anything. But animals don't walk like that. These steps were deliberate, evenly spaced, like someone pacing. I held my breath and listened. The footsteps moved around the cabin, not rushing, not stumbling, walking. They stopped beneath my window. I stared at the wall, too scared to move, imagining a shadow on the other side of the glass. I wanted to reach for my flashlight, but the thought of turning on a light made my stomach twist. What if they were watching? After what felt like forever, the footsteps continued, circling the cabin again. Then silence. No retreating steps, no fading crunch. Just gone. I didn't sleep after that. When morning finally came, I opened the door with shaking hands. Fresh snow covered everything, except the footprints. Boot prints, deep, heavy. They circled the cabin multiple times, but there were no tracks leading away. None. It was like whoever, or whatever, had simply vanished. That's when I noticed something else. Right beneath my bedroom window, the snow had been brushed away, as if someone had been standing there for a long time, watching. This happened 2 winters ago in Ontario. I worked late shifts at a distribution warehouse, usually getting off around 11 p.m. Winter nights were routine for me. Dark roads, snowstorms, empty highways. This night felt normal, until it didn't. I noticed a black SUV behind me about 10 minutes into my drive. At first I ignored it. Then I slowed down for icy patches. It slowed down too. I changed lanes. It followed. My heart rate started creeping up, but I tried to stay calm. I told myself I was being paranoid, so I took an exit I never take. The SUV followed. That's when fear settled in. I started turning randomly, left, right, side streets, just to test it. Every turn I made, it made 2. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I pulled into a gas station, hoping it would pass. It didn't. The SUV parked directly across from me, headlights on. I stayed in my car, pretending to text someone, glancing up every few seconds. Then suddenly, the headlights shut off. The SUV was gone. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. I started my engine and froze. The SUV was parked behind the station now, engine off, completely dark. I didn't hesitate. I drove straight to the nearest police station and stayed there for nearly an hour before going home. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, my neighbor knocked on my door. She asked me why someone had been sitting in a black SUV outside my house the night before. For over an hour. Engine off. Lights out. Just waiting. I never saw that SUV again. But even now, every winter night, I check my mirrors. Winter hides things. It hides sound. It hides movement. And sometimes, it hides people who don't want to be seen. If you enjoyed these true winter stories, make sure you subscribe for more real-life horror. And don't forget to press the notification bell, because the next story might be even closer to home than you think. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.